friends, and welcome back to another video, and welcome in if you're new here. Today's video is my very first reading journal spread setup for the year, so we're setting up for January. I think I mentioned in my setup video, I'm sure I did, that this is the second year of me trying to do a reading journal, and last year I just kind of fell off. I didn't get into reading as much as I'd wanted to, and so I thought we'll give it one more year, and if it doesn't work I can try a different system. But I'm starting off strong by getting in for January. My goal was to hopefully read 2 books a month. I read 1.5 in January, so I haven't included the second book in January spread, but that will be hopefully in February's. So this month it's just the one book, and I have decided instead of doing 2 double-page spreads that I would just do 1 double-page spread, so it shows the January as a cover, and then on the other side I write a bit about the book. I've just kind of gone with a bit of a decorate the space and leave enough room for me to write about the book afterwards and my thoughts and feelings on it. I didn't include my my written notes on this one in the actual video because I didn't want to risk spoiling it for anybody. But the book that I read this month was The X-Hex by Erin Sterling. I had intended on reading this around October time last year just because of the spooky vibes, but I just didn't get the chance to. We all became quite ill in succession, me and my husband and my child, so I just was not up for doing anything more than surviving at that point. But I got around to it in the new year, and it was actually still quite cozy because the weather had gotten quite snowy here and it was very cold, and it was a really lovely, cozy, kind of easy read so that I didn't have to like think too hard about the plot and stuff like that. But it was really, really fun. I enjoyed it. And it was exactly what I needed for the start of the year, I think, to get me back into the reading zone for the new year. And because it is a kind of witchy kind of book, I decided to make the spread themed around that. So lots of the stickers and things that you're going to see here are sort of witchy themed, with like, you've got that broomstick and little wood stump, and I go through some different washi tapes and stuff to use. I will try to link below a couple of the people whose stuff I've used. I've used a mixture, I think, of my own and maybe 2 other shops. I think it's Sofie Art for those bigger stickers, and then I'm pretty certain I used allll from BujoCult's washi tape. But if there's anything in the video you see that you like the look of, let me know in the comments and I can let you know who it's from. But yeah, I had a lot of fun putting together this spread. It's something that's new to me for this type of journaling. Obviously I'm used to working in my bullet journal, or if you're new here, maybe you don't know that, I do bullet journal spreads every month for my monthly setup, so I'm used to doing that in my spreads. But one where it's for writing like a whole page for journaling about a book, it's not something that I'm used to doing, so it's been fun to kind of play around and figure out what I want to do with it and what I even wanted to have on the spread. I contemplated whether I wanted to have any kind of trackers or like how many pages I've read and stuff, but in the end I decided not to. I just kind of went simple and decorative on this one. Maybe in the future spreads I will add more to them, but I think that's going to be the beauty of this year, is me just kind of leaning into it and going with the flow and seeing what it is I want from my journaling spreads, just to see what I like from them, and maybe it'll change, maybe it'll stay the same sort of method each time, but yeah, we'll see what happens. So I had hoped to read 2 books, like I said. I am about halfway through reading Red Rising, and I'm hoping to finish that maybe in the next couple of weeks. It is quite busy at the minute, but I'm trying to force myself to find the time to read again, just so I don't fall off the habit, because I do really love reading. I think it's just easy for me to not go for that whenever I've got like work and stuff to do. I think it's an easy thing for me to set down and forget about, which I don't like doing. So hopefully I will be able to keep on top of picking up my books and reading them. I actually read The X-Hex on my phone, on my Kindle app. It just was a lot easier for me to get through it, because if I was sitting, you know, I'm running my own business, but I'm also a stay-at-home mum, so whenever my kid's not at nursery, I've got my hands full, and then also just, the typical kind of life stuff with household things and whatnot. And then by the time the evening comes, I'm usually sitting down to do more work, and then I'm too tired. So I'm trying to find if I can do a hard cut off in the evenings so that I can read before I go to bed. But during the day, when I was reading the XX, I found that it was much easier to read on my phone, because in the sort of small moments where I found that maybe my toddler was quite happily playing on their own, it made it much easier for me to just kind of take my phone out and read for 10 minutes here and there. You know, the luxury of sitting down for an hour or several hours just doesn't really happen anymore, because I have so much work to do and such little time to do it in. I tend to be working, if they're in nursery, I tend to be working all of that time. It is a very short amount of time too, it's not like a whole day thing, so I usually am working those hours, and then after bedtime I am generally doing some work too to try and fit it all in. So yeah, it's a bit of a balance, but it is something I am working on, because I really want to do more reading and more kind of relaxing and winding down, so that I don't accidentally burn myself out by working too much, because that's not good for anybody. If I work too hard, then I tend to lose kind of creative flow, because the burnout is like taking over, and I feel like my ideas generation is just like my tank is running dry. And I need to do the things that I enjoy and love as well, so that I can kind of fill my cup again. And I do love my business, and I love doing the things that I do for my business, but I think it's very important to do other creative things for me, so that I can kind of keep generating those ideas and feel energized about what I'm doing. So that is definitely something I'm working on, and a kind of routine in the evenings that I want to kind of move forward with. It's something that I'll probably talk a little bit more about in my journaling vlogs. Those are a bit more kind of casual, chatty sort of videos where I talk about kind of my systems and my ideas and my plans. It's more of a kind of go with the flow kind of video rather than a sit down and chat. There's probably more updates and stuff in that kind of video, if that's something you're interested in. I have one already on my channel, and the next one will be coming, I think next week is the plan. So keep an eye out for that if that's something you're interested in. as you can see here, I have kind of framed out the page a little bit. I have used this sort of orangey washi tape by BujoCult, and I'm fairly certain the larger stickers on the bottom left and right are by Sofie Art, I think. I will double check and put it in my description. And then what you're seeing me use right now, the little stars and things, those are my own stickers. I have some book paper layered underneath. I have this giant book. It's like a stamp dictionary encyclopedia type thing, but the paper is really thin, so it's really nice to work with. And yeah, I'm just kind of playing about with my layout. I didn't plan any of it whenever I was going forward with doing the spread. I had no idea what way I was going to go, apart from knowing that I wanted it to be a little bit witchy and cozy. So yeah, real-time process. Well, some of it's sped up and cut out, otherwise this video would be very long. But I mean, in the process of making the spread, I sort of thought out the layout and everything as I went along. For the header, I used my stamps, and I've seen a couple of different sets of stamps. The ones I have are capital letters. I have seen some smaller versions of them floating around in different shops, so I'm considering getting some smaller ones too. And I want to work on my hand lettering as well. I've kind of been practicing a little bit here and there with calligraphy, because I would love to do a little bit more of that in my journals, just to add a little bit more colour with markers and things. So hopefully in the next few months you might see me getting a little bit more out of my comfort zone and doing that kind of a header in my reading journal, or maybe my bullet journals as well. So yeah, I've just kind of played about with the layout, and I'm laying things down here and there. But yeah, onto the book again. So the XX, like I said, I really enjoyed reading it, because it was quite an easy read. There was enough of a plot to keep me interested, but there wasn't so much going on that it was hard to keep concentrated, because like I said, I had to read it in kind of smaller chunks of time. Although I find that whenever I'm coming close to past halfway from a book, if I've gone beyond halfway in a book, in my eyes I'm thinking, oh well, I'm nearly done now, so I tend to kind of power through it a lot if I can. Obviously that depends on circumstances, but now with the Red Rising book that I'm reading, I'm getting to that point now, and I feel like at some point there's going to be more going on and I'll not want to put the book down. And this is why a lot of the time I didn't pick up a book before I went to bed to read, because when I was younger, at least, if I read in bed, I would not sleep. I would stay up all the way through to the next morning. I just couldn't put the book down. And now that I have a child, that's fairly impossible to do. I mean, I could do it, I would just regret it very much in the morning, because I have a child who wakes up at 6 in the morning, so that wouldn't be ideal for me. But yeah, I'll hopefully be able to start reading a little bit more in the evenings, and just not do it in bed if I read just before I go to bed. Maybe that will help me avoid staying up all night. But yeah, I have a few books on my to be read list, even from last year. I have a bunch, a couple that I have already got on my shelf. I'm currently looking at my shelf trying to find the ones that I'm reading. I am more than halfway through Legends and Latte, so I need to finish that. I also think I have a little bit left of one of the, it's not the Six of Crows series, what's the other one? Shadow and Bone? It's the Shadow and Bone series, the second book. Crooked Kingdom, I think it is. Yeah, Crooked Kingdom. I'm almost finished that as well, so I need to finish those. And then I've got a couple of other books. I have read the first of the ACOTAR series, so I need to read the rest of those. I have one here called Sorrow and Bliss by Meg Mason, and then I've got Babel that I wanted to read as well. And I know there's more, but the books are not in my sight. They are, I think they're down in my living room, on my bookshelves in my living room, so I can't remember off the top of my head, but I would love to know what books you will be reading this year, if you've got any planned, or if you've read any recently that have been really good. I would love to know. I have some recommendations down below. I'm kind of mixing it up with genre and that. Like the XX was, slightly witchy, had a little bit of romance, and then of course you've got kind of like the fantasy book genre, or the romantasy book genre, but then I do enjoy kind of mystery and drama too, so I like to mix it up. So whatever it is that you're reading, please let me know. I would love to know your suggestions so that I can continue to add to my very, very long list of books to read that will probably take me a really long time, but I'll get around to it eventually. I just really like collecting lists of options, because I never know what kind of a mood I'm going to be in, whether it's going to be something where I want something spooky to read, or something fun and lighthearted, or, you know, something really intense. So yeah, I like to have my options open. So that's us coming to the end of the video. I really enjoyed doing this, and I'm actually feeling very accomplished, because last year I didn't even get as far as doing a January spread. So I'm feeling very good, and it's spurring me on to do lots more reading so that I could do lots more spreads, because it was very enjoyable to do, and I really want to keep up the writing part of it. I love the creative part, but the writing part of it too, especially because it means then I have more chance of remembering what I read, and it gives me a better idea of like authors and types of stories and genres that I want to read in the future. Because I just tend to have a little bit of a bad memory when it comes to like media, with like books and movies and that kind of thing. So yeah, this was really fun. I really hope you enjoyed it. As always, stay cozy. Subscribe if you would like to see more. Give me a thumbs up if you liked the video, and I will see you in the next one.